Alright, so this is for all you individuals who want to give your 2 cents about a matter that you probably know nothing about. I just spent the past 6 hours learning about Roe versus Wade, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about the facts, and if you want to come at me for the facts, then that's your own problem. Yes, I respect everyone's belief, but just because you have a belief about something doesn't mean that you have the ability to push it onto other people's bodies. So first off, let's start by this. Do you even know Jane Roe's real name? Did you even know that that was an alias? Because I don't think you did. Her real name is Norma McCory. She was 22 years old, unmarried, unemployed, and pregnant at the time of the trial. She went seeking an abortion in Texas and was declined it. She was on her 3rd pregnancy in 1969. Another thing, did you know that Roe versus Wade is an umbrella law? The people talking about pro-life and pro-choice being just about abortion, you are so horribly incorrect. Roe versus Wade protects contraceptives, Viagra, anything to do with abortion-related activities is protected under this law. It's also about privacy. Roe versus Wade is the right to not be persecuted for a natural abortion. Roe versus Wade protects LGBTQ parents from discrimination when trying to reproduce their own children. Roe versus Wade protects the right to a C-section, a cesarean section. Roe versus Wade protects disabled people, stillbirths, and imprisonment for women who cannot bring their baby to term if they are undergoing chemo, COVID, and any life-threatening pregnancies. Everything that is in Roe versus Wade is protected under 4 different amendments: the 1st, 4th, 9th, and 14th Amendment. The right to privacy. The right to privacy. That's a very important thing to know. There are these things called the zones of privacy in the Constitution, and this includes contraceptives, marriage, child rearing. And because of Roe versus Wade, the court decided that the zone of privacy was broad enough to encompass a woman's decisions whether or not to terminate her pregnancy. It is a constitutional right that a woman has the choice over her body. And you know what else is protected against the First Amendment? The separation of church and state, which means religion should never play a part in politics. So just because it is your religion, you can conform to that all you want, but that does not give you the ability to force others to conform to your religion, to your belief system. It is an amendment. It is the First Amendment right. And even though it is not stated directly in the Constitution that there is a separation of church versus state, it is implied under the Establishment Clause, which is in the First Amendment. But you're so pro-life, right? You are so pro-life. But did you ever consider the fact that 830 women die every single day due to pregnancy or pregnancy-related issues? Did you know that 30% of women who struggle with postpartum depression form a mood disorder, anxiety disorder, or depressive disorder? And that 830 women are not even accounting for the amount of women who take their lives due to postpartum or prenatal depression. Yeah, you're so pro-life, but you're clearly not pro-quality of life, because think of all the women who are going to face serious complications from having a stillborn pregnancy if you appeal Roe versus Wade. Think about the amount of kids that are going to go into foster care system and have a terrible life because of that. Yeah, pro-life? What about the quality of it?
I had an abortion. I had an abortion. At 16 weeks, I had an abortion. I was already mom to 1, and I was 18 years old, and it's not what you think it was. I was married, and we chose to bring a child into this world. We wanted our first daughter to have a sibling, and we wanted to start our family, and I was so excited for that baby. At 9 weeks, I went to my OB, and everything looked fine, except for on the ultrasound, I was measuring about six weeks, not 9 weeks. And so I went home, and I just kind of ruminated on that fact, and something just didn't feel right. So I called my OB, and I said, something is wrong. Are you having pain? No. Are you bleeding? No. Something is wrong. I can't explain it. Something is wrong. I don't feel right. And so they did some lab work, and they did multiple series of lab work, and they found that the pregnancy hormone was not multiplying the way that it should have been. So then they did multiple anatomy scans, and they just simply could not find a heartbeat. And it took about 3 to 4 weeks to finally get to the point that they told me that my baby was not alive, that my body was going to take care of the products of conception, and that I would miscarry. But I never did. I was hysterical and beside myself, and I truly believe that my body was linked to my brain, and my brain would not let that baby go, and so neither did my body. And it was very unhealthy, and my doctor came to a point that he said, we need to do surgery. And I had a D&C. I had my baby scraped out of my body. And that is an abortion. I woke up screaming. I was screaming. I had horrible dreams for months that somebody took my baby, somebody stole my baby. To criminalize that? Oh my gosh. What the hell is wrong with you people? Abortion is not what you think it is. It is not this evil thing that women do to be selfish and control the world. It is not an easy decision. And I support the right to choose.
I'm a lawyer battling infertility. Let's talk about why women undergoing IVF should be concerned about the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade was a landmark case decided in 1973, which held that under the Due Process Clause of the United States Constitution, women had a right to privacy, which included the right to have an abortion. This was not an unrestricted right, meaning that the Supreme Court held that states could still impose restrictions on abortion if these restrictions were in the name of women's health or prenatal life. Part of this ruling required pinpointing at what point a woman could no longer choose to have an abortion because of the life of the child. Prior to the ruling in Roe v. Wade, states could make abortion completely illegal, or they could place whatever restrictions they wanted on a woman's access to abortion. Okay, but we're talking about abortion. What does this have to do with IVF? Prior to Roe v. Wade and still today, many people have used the argument that life begins at conception to limit abortion. How will this affect IVF? When you are undergoing IVF, a sperm and an egg are combined in a petri dish in order to create an embryo. If successfully fertilized, this embryo can be placed into a woman's uterus in order to hopefully create a child. Under the theory that life begins at conception, every embryo that's created in IVF is a life that cannot be discarded. What implications can this have for women undergoing IVF? It's possible that moving forward, women will have to either use all of their available embryos or donate their embryos to another couple. By requiring that embryos are donated rather than discarded, this would mean that a couple's biological children would be donated to another couple to use. This is an incredible option that is used often in infertility, but it's a very personal choice for a couple to make. My greater concern is that IVF may not even be an option for some couples depending on what state they live in. Many people believe that IVF is playing God and that creating a life outside of a woman's body is something that should not be done. So while a lot of people just think about abortion when they hear that Roe v. Wade may be overturned, there's actually very long-lasting and far-reaching implications to this. And it's not just infertility. There are a ton of rights that have been found under the right to privacy under the U.S. Constitution. Gay marriage, interracial marriage, right to contraceptives, these are just a few. This is a serious issue, and we need to be thinking about it.
You're pro-life and want to reduce the number of abortions, right? Okay, great. So how about we support some policies that reduce poverty, because that would definitely reduce the number. No, because that's like people on like welfare and stuff. Okay, so how about we increase comprehensive sex education across the country? Then they're like indoctrinating like the kids, like, like liberal. Okay, so what if we increase access to contraceptives? No, they just like shouldn't be having sex, You want people to stop having... Okay, what if we increased access to childcare? If they can't pay for that, then that's like literally on them. What does that have to do with me? I'm not using my taxpayer money, so you don't care. You don't care.